Yeah, I do have.
Okay, ready?
Thanks.
Roll call then. Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Farr,
Yes.
Bergbauer,
Yes.
Colkenbrink.
Yes. Okay, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Farr,
Yes.
Bergbauer,
Yes.
Colkenbrink.
Yes. Now I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting held on April 10th, 2018.
I'll make it. I'll second it.
Beard,
Yes.
Farr,
Yes.
Bergbauer,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Colkenbrink.
Yes. Do you have any public comment? I see none at this time. Do we have any guests that would like to speak? Ray Dial?
Yep, I sure would. Just briefly. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First thing I want to do before I forget, I just had three of the say the date cards. Ron's got one in front of him, but September 25th through 27th is the Sniper Risk Management's conference in East Peoria, the Embassy Suites. So jot that down on your calendar. We hope that some of you be able to attend. We have a pretty good meeting. We eat well, we have fun, and we take care of it all. We pay the bill. All you gotta do is get there, we'll take care of it. We'll put you up, and we'll feed you, and it's a great time, a great meeting, and lots of good information. The other thing,
I will agree with that.
thank
I've
you.
been there a couple times.
Yep, Ron has attended, and it is a good time. The other thing that I'm glad to be here with, Floyd contacted me a couple months ago and said y'all were contemplating putting a security system in some of the county office buildings. He and I talked about the possibility of that qualifying for a safety grant through the ICRMT, through your insurance carrier. The safety grant program the ICRMT has is a 50% matching grant, up to 50% up to $10,000. So we will match half of a $10,000 or $20,000 project if it's for safety issues, safety purposes. Floyd we did ask the ICRMT for some money for the camera system, and they did agree that that was a good purchase, a good idea for the county. So I have a check for $2,125 made out to Cumberland County that you can go on vacation, I guess. But it is for half of the cost of the camera system.
Thank you, Ray.
You're welcome, Floyd. The ICRMT and Sniper Risk Management, myself, we appreciate Cumberland County. You guys do a great job. We don't worry much about Cumberland. You take care of business here, and we're glad to be able to help any time that we can.
This was a camera system we installed in the courthouse, and this was half of the cost of that camera system. And we plan on putting it in some other buildings, Ray, but we're going to do a little cheaper system there, and our plans to install them and go a different route. By giving us this check, may I ask, does that mean you think camera systems are a fairly good investment?
Yes, sir. The ICRMT did agree that it was a good investment.
Good investment.
If we wanted to update the camera system in the sheriff's office,
They would look much more favorably upon that. And they agreed, they funded half of the courthouse camera. The Jasper County, neighboring Jasper County put a camera system in 4 or 5 years ago in the cells. They were having problems with the inmates were falling out of bed and having to go to emergency room trips. We installed a camera system. The ICRMT paid for half of it, and within the first month after the system was in place, the jailers observed a young man trying to hang himself and was able to stop the hanging right after they'd made the rounds, and they weren't going to make rounds for another however you have to do it, Sheriff.
30 minutes.
30 minutes. They'd already just went by. The young man watched him go by, and then he was attempting to hang himself. So we saved that, and hanging is usually a lot of money, no matter what. So yeah, if you guys decide you want to do something like the jail, let me know. We'll see
now
what
would
we do
that
on
go up to the $10,000 matching or $20,000?
We've got
Or does it come out, does the
Yep.
2,000 come out of it
Yep, for this year, yes.
for this year?
Yeah, so we've got,
Next year bid?
we've got we still got almost $8,000 left to apply for. So yes, if you guys decide to do something, let me know. We'll see what we can do.
All right, Ray.
It's never guaranteed, but we do a really good job of getting that for our clients.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ray.
You're welcome.
Okay, and the next guest should be Terry Burdine. Hello.
Okay.
Hi. All right, first I wanted to introduce all the help that we've had with the Veterans Monument. So, and we've got auxiliary too. And I wanted to point out that I have never been at one of the meetings alone. I've always had at least one auxiliary member with me. Misty Irvin is part of the auxiliary. So she has been at every meeting that I have attended. And the last one I had Jesse Peters with me. So Billy Chambers is auxiliary. Tanya Craig is auxiliary. Kim Otto is auxiliary. Ellie Osborne has volunteered to help. Tammy Dunn is auxiliary. Jesse Peters has volunteered to help. My husband Luke Burdine has volunteered to help. John Osborne has volunteered to help. And then we have about 10 other people that have also volunteered to help or are auxiliary that have been helping with this. So I wanted to make sure that that was clear. Also, I wanted to ask then if you guys had made a decision and if you could make a vote for the static display up there with the piece of military equipment that the Legion can apply for to be on loan from the Army, and that they would take care of it like they do with their rifles and their guns and stuff.
Do you know which piece of equipment you're gonna ask for?
It's probably would be a gun. It would be like a howitzer or something like that. It's whatever that they would have probably available come first. They would ask us. I would say that I would be willing to, okay, if it's another Legion that's closed or condensed and they have to take that back, that we could get it. That way we don't have to wait so long. But I think it would probably be like a howitzer or a gun, something like that, cannon. I don't know how far back they have it. It would be just whatever they would ask us would be available and we could say yes or no.
When I talked to you the other day, I said I wanted a 155 or a 105 howitzer.
I said, Brian and you were gonna fight Roy because he
I
wants,
don't
he
care about
wants a
them.
stealth out there, so.
I don't care about them. They're not the ones that have to do the fighting. They're the ones that are kind of stayed.
I'm not gonna ask
Way
for a
far away or
helicopter
whatever.
because I know Matt Toons waited for 15 years for a helicopter, so we're not gonna go that route. It's probably first come, first serve, something that's, you know, interesting and that has history to it, so.
Has this display increased in size any since we talked last time?
Just, we've collecting names that we're about 8,000 to 10,000 that we're estimating that we'll have. John Osborne has been doing all of the history and collecting of going around the cemeteries with his children, and they've been taking pictures of stones and documenting everything that they can.
But the size of the display should be basically the same.
Yeah, it shouldn't, except for just the piece of concrete that would be on, because they asked that it's put on it nice, it's not stuck on the ground.
Now, the howitzer or whatever would be something off to the side of
Yes,
it.
it would be off to the side where like the American flag is, and the POW stone is with the stadium chair that the Rolling Thunder is donating for that display. And they'll have the POWs, and then there'll be the key that has the wars, and then the donors of $1,000 or more listed on it.
So it will be a little bit bigger than what originally was.
A little bit. Well, it's the picture that I showed you guys, the last time that had the sidewalk on it, and then had the flags set next to it, we were thinking probably putting it in the front of that sidewalk. So it would be along the sidewalk going to the monument. So it would be right in there. So it's not going to extend out any farther. It would be just a little bit wider.
Will the names be at random, or will they be?
It's going to be random, but we've had people ask us, can you put it by branch of military? And I said, we can't. They'd be listed all over. My own grandpa served in 2 branches. He was Army and he was Air Force. They said, can you put it by war? I said, we can't list them by war. My own grandfather was in Korea and Vietnam. And so we decided that the best way that we could document it would be put a symbol next to somebody's name for whatever war they were in or conflict. So like my grandpa, he would have two symbols next to his name. And then that's where that stone is with the donors, and we have a key so that they could see that the star is a war and like a triangle is another conflict, and that way we can document. We want to make it where people can see the history. We have a Revolutionary War. We have Civil War. You know, we want to make sure that people can see this in years to come, all the work that's been put into it, that it's, you know, a history lesson too when they come and view it. So.
One other question. You've had fundraisers for this. Do you know what the total amount you've raised in all the fundraising so
It's
far?
around 30, got it?
Last year's financial statement.
Our last year financial statement, we went up to 27,260. That doesn't count all the donations that we've had since. I promised a $1,000 donation to match the mother-son dance that we're having May 26th. We're also doing a bake sale. We're selling shirts daily. We've got donations coming in the mail daily from people. We have plans to do a revival of World War II when they had the war bonds that they would sell. They would have bands come together and play music and a comedian and do that. So we were going to revive that because we know of four people still surviving from back then that still sing and perform and stuff. So we've asked area musicians, and we've had several people say that they wanted to. So we're planning on doing something like that in the fall. But for Spring Fest, we've got a bake sale, and we're going to set up the stand with the shirts, and we've got May 26th, the mother-son dance, and I've got a $1,000 donation from an insurance company that's coming from that, that's going to match what we do, and that's I've got 200 and some people already interested in the event that we've been sending out invites on Facebook and stuff, so. And then we're gonna have the ambulance and the trucks come from like the fire trucks. I talked to Sheriff Ozier about having a police car there because we've got the theme of touch a truck. The medevac helicopter, if they don't have a call, they're gonna land for the mother-son dance so the boys can see it. So we're trying to get a big crowd over there at Christian Church. They're donating the property for us to use it. So we've got a lot of things going.
Okay. Do you know what the total cost of this project to be at this time? Or estimate?
Probably 175, 185. It depends. When we get to a certain amount where we know what the stones, what size stones, then I can have Milano and Grunlow, they're donating the services for the engineer to tell us like how deep concrete is. I can't get an estimate on concrete until I know how big my stones are for sure, what the weight is. We've got a couple of different sizes that we can go, but I don't want to say, oh, the smaller one when I need the bigger, you know, to go in height. So it depends on the weight. And then when I know the concrete, then I can ask the concrete factory for a donation. It just depends. I mean, if I've got the laborers, they've already volunteered services. So I've got union guys that have volunteered electrical. I've got a lot of laborers volunteering. It's just the material. And with what the tariffs have done, rebar has went up really quick, like probably 25% is what I've been told for rebar. So it just depends. If they're going to donate it, prices goes down that we got to raise. If they don't, it's going to be up there.
Okay, anybody else have any other question? Basically, you want a motion that says you're allowed to set the static display on the courthouse. That's right.
Yep. So the Legion can then send their request to the headquarters in Washington, and then it can be sent to the Army.
A little further down the line is when this motion is on the floor. We're not gonna do it right now.
No, that's fine.
We're gonna wait about 3 motions from now, we're
That's
gonna
fine.
discuss it. And anybody got any other questions for Terry?
I just think they've all done a good job.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's all our guests at present time. Next order of business. I talked to you and discuss it whenever we do this. That's okay with him, okay? So, we want a motion to approve the ordinance directing the reduction of the 2017 payable 2018 levy. We're talking about abatements and all this, what this is, and that's our discussion on it. Is anybody still interested in abating?
I'd like to make a couple comments. I find it very hypocritical that people who fought so hard to balance a budget now all of a sudden wants to unbalance that budget. They fought for a balanced budget, but now they're fighting to have an unbalanced budget. It makes no sense to me. It's like I said, it's kind of hypocritical to say one thing and then try to do something else. We are losing base, as we all know. We'll be losing $30,000 worth of base. I'll go back to my hypocritical thing. We had to cut out a squad car out of the last budget just to balance the budget. And now we're giving away more than what one squad car would cost. It's ridiculous what we're doing. Especially when on a $100,000 house, it's gonna save $14. And it just makes no sense to me. Say one thing and then do something else.
Anybody else got a comment?
I have a comment. So, yeah, they cut a car out of last year's budget, but what did they end up in the audit?
I have no idea what the audit is right now, because have they done anything on the audit?
He's not finished.
I do know,
What was the year before?
I do know that we're picking up all of the maintenance on all the buildings coming up, and that 30,000 we're gonna be losing forever and ever could go a long way on taking care of buildings. It just doesn't, you know, it doesn't make any sense to me, knowing, and we were talking about the sanctuary city or sanctuary state thing and everything. We have no idea what this government at the state level is going to do, whether they're going to pay us anything or not. We went through a period of time when they didn't pay us anything. And guess what happened? We had to cut back and all kinds of good stuff. Yes, we have a nice amount set back for rainy day fund or whatever, but you know, come next budget year, we need a car, we need all kinds of stuff, and
What is the figure, Ron,
what do you mean, what is the figure?
that we have for a rainy day? What is it in our reserve?
It's around 2 million right now.
And how much do we spend every year?
I couldn't tell you right off the top of my head. But having run school districts, I know $2 million can go like that. It doesn't take much to run through $2 million. And that's not a whole lot of rainy day fund for a budget as big as what we have. If you have a, let's say, $100,000 budget at home, that's big. I'll say $20,000 budget, because that could be related to 2 million. Well, to our budget. How much money do you have to have in the bank to feel comfortable with your budget and any type of extra expenditures you're going to have and all that kind of stuff? $2 million on with what we spend every year. We can go through that real fast.
Well, the figures that's the way I look at it. In the last 10 years, we've increased our reserves
We have.
almost 200,000 every year. And that's a trend that's happened the last 10 years. And I will look in the future, and I don't know, it don't make any difference, but I feel like we have somehow overtaxed our taxpayers and brought in more than we needed. Not intentionally or anything, but it just, and which is a good thing, but I feel like the reserves are too high. And I'd like to have them lowered a little bit.
Well,
So
you're gonna be spending $100,000 out of the budget next year just to take care of the buildings.
That's possible too. Mhm.
because we were using that bond to take care of the buildings. And that was a little over 100,000 every year we were getting. So, you know, you may say we're getting 200,000, but starting next year, we're going to, if we're that lucky, we'll be getting 100,000. If we can save 100,000. So what you're doing is you're giving away the extra 100,000.
Right. I realize we lose our base, we can't get back, we're losing 30,000, no, 37,000 every year.
Yeah, about 40,000.
About 40,000. I still feel comfortable with it, so. Anybody else got a comment before we vote on it?
I just, the only comment I've got is I'd rather be sticking the money in these guys' pockets than in the county's pocket,
You mean the tax, which guy, the
the
taxpayers?
taxpayers.
Okay. Well, could I get a motion to that effect then? $100,000 what in your packet, it's, we had one, I think it was,
Yeah.
$100,000. Is that what it says? Yes, page 10. $100,000. That's what I would like to say if I make a motion for.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Parr,
No.
Bergbauer,
Yes.
Clapp,
Yes.
Black,
Not no, but hell no.
Beard,
Yes.
Folkenberg.
Yes. Motion carried, right?
Yep.
All right. Next order of business. Looking for a resolution to approve a resolution concerning the Second Amendment. That we've had three of those,
Yeah.
three different resolutions in our board packet. This has to do with some kind of sort of like a sanctuary county, gun rights. And there has been several counties, Effingham County passed a sanctuary county resolution. And so 3 or 4 other counties also passed the same resolution, some passed different resolutions. So this will be in favor of gun rights. And at this time, Dave Clark, he owned the gun shop out here, lives out, last name
Concealed carry, yep, advanced pistol, rifle classes.
So Dave, you want to step forward and have you got anything to say, or what do you think? We'll listen to what you say.
I have a written statement and then an article out of the Mattoon Post yesterday I'd like to read. Thanks, guys. Our government's trying to take away the law-abiding citizens' Second Amendment rights by submitting new anti-gun bills that would ban, confiscate, limit ownership, and prohibit possession of commonly owned firearms and accessories because of the actions of criminals who committed crimes with firearms. Media played it up, and our congressmen and women, both state and federal, drafted nonsense bills to appease the anti-firearm public. Take a look at the countries that banned firearm possession: Australia, England, Germany before 1945, Russia. I don't need to say anything about Germany or Russia, but in England, yes, firearm crime went down, but the criminals used other means to commit crimes, and the crime rate went up. For example, England just 2 weeks ago banned knives. They ask you to turn in your knives. The police aren't there to protect you, but usually solve the crime after it's taken place. I know here in Cumberland County, sometimes it could take up to 30 minutes for the police officer to arrive at your place if there was something being committed. We have to protect ourselves, even though our sheriff and police do a great job. Compliments, Steve. Resolutions have been passed upholding our Second Amendment rights in Iroquois County, Effingham County, Jasper County, Saline, Jefferson, Perry. Fayette County has their board meeting tonight where they're probably going to pass a resolution, and hopefully Cumberland County tonight also. There are many other counties drafting resolutions at this time. We need to stand up for our rights as guaranteed in the U.S. and state constitution, which all of you swore to an oath to uphold when you were sworn in, to protect the freedoms that makes the United States the greatest country in the world. The crimes of a few should not justify taking away our freedoms. Let's enforce the laws that are already in place instead of a slap on the wrist, and no follow through on leads against persons wanting to commit crimes. Here's just a few facts about the Illinois firearms laws. To possess or even handle a firearm, you must have a firearms owner's identification card, except if you're taking training. To purchase a firearm from a gun dealer, you must fill out a Form 4473, go through a background check, and a waiting period. It's 24 hours on long guns, 72 hours on handguns. To transfer between individuals, you must get approval from the Illinois State Police by using the ISB website, and all waiting periods after the approval must be met. Illinois conducts background checks of each FOID holder and concealed carry holder every night. There's over 2 million background checks that happen every night here in Illinois. And to make sure that no changes have been made in the eligibility to possess firearms. Concerning the Senate Bill 1657 and Senate Bill 337, which took the place of Senate Bill 1657 after the governor vetoed it and it was not overruled. The VATF enforces all the firearms laws here in Illinois. I do paperwork every day concerning all the transfers and keep up on all the firearms laws, And who enforces it? Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. This Gun Dealer Licensing Act, the Senate Bill 1657, which is now extinct, was wanting to put more rules and everything on Illinois firearms dealers and the general public to boot. There's no gun show loophole, as the media says. Each firearm transferred to a gun show must go through a background check and must be approved by Illinois State Police. This is not to say there aren't illegal transfers between individuals in the parking lot, but they are breaking the law. You must be 18 to purchase a long gun and long gun ammunition, 21 to purchase a handgun and handgun ammunition. They're wanting to increase the age to 21 to purchase long guns. But yeah, we can give them a firearm, let's say, under the military, and expect them to use it at 18. Criminals get guns because they do not abide by the laws, no matter what. Criminals that have guns and commit crimes. A little bit of an article here. I heard a lot of talk about the sanctuary part of it. This is out of the Mattoon Journal-Gazette yesterday. It's talking with Brian Kibler, who's a state's attorney over at Effingham County. It says sanctuary city, it's a buzzword. The word really gets attention. With all these sanctuary cities, we just decided to turn it around to protect our Second Amendment rights, said David Campbell, Vice Chairman of Effingham County Board. He said at least 20 Illinois counties and local officials in Oregon and Washington have asked for copies of the Effingham County resolution. County officials fear their state legislators won't be able to stop the passage of gun restrictions because they are outnumbered by lawmakers from in and around Chicago, where the vast majority of more than 650 homicides last year involved guns. Co-opting the sanctuary title is also a way of drawing attention to the rural/urban political divide that was so stark in the last general election when downstate areas of Illinois backed Donald Trump, who remains popular with those voters, while Chicago backed Hillary Clinton, who grew up in the suburbs. We're just stealing the language that sanctuary cities use, explained the Effingham County Board Stop Prosecutor Brian Kibler, who came up with the idea. Not lost on them is that lawmakers from Chicago were instrumental in turning Illinois into that diversely called sanctuary state by passing recent legislation that prohibits local law enforcement from arresting or detaining people based solely on their immigration status. Republican Governor Bruce Rauner signed it into law. They are trying to make a point that they really resent how the city of Chicago treats the rest of the state and how they're treated as gun owners, said Richard Pearson, Executive Director of the Illinois State Rifle Association. Matching paper yesterday. In closing, I hope that Cumberland County joins other counties throughout the state in passing a resolution that shows our legislature that we will not put up with any nonsense anti-gun laws that try to take our right away to possess firearms. I want to thank you, County Board, for letting me exercise my First Amendment right in support of my Second Amendment right and all the rights guaranteed to us in the Constitution. Thank you.
Dave,
Yes.
you made the comment that you think there's enough laws already.
Yes.
Legislated.
Well, take for instance the Waffle House shooter in Nashville. He had been prohibited from possessing firearms.
That's right.
He jumped the White House fence out in Washington DC. He was a mental case, justified, documented here in Illinois, but yet his father broke the law and gave the guns back to him. The guy down in Florida, it's a school shooter. He was a mental case. He should have been under arrest for many things, but President Obama had a law where it would allow students who got into trouble off the hook. And yeah, if we would just enforce the laws we have now, we've got enough of them to keep everybody safe, to keep guns out of the hands of criminals. Of course, criminals are going to get guns anyway. You know.
But I like your comment, you said if they ban guns, they'll everybody go for a knife. If they ban knives, let's people know they'll get a van and
Yeah.
run over somebody on the streets, you know.
Yeah, well, like up in Toronto, you know, the band,
Right.
what was it, 10 dead and 16 hurt?
Yeah, they got a problem. They just use a gun to vent their frustrations.
Yeah. Well, you know, how many crimes are committed with guns? But they don't also issue how many crimes are prevented by guns and gun owners. So, you know, there's a lot more crimes prevented than there are committed. So,
Okay, Dave.
thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
At this time, we've got 3 different resolutions in your packet. I'm leaning toward the one on page 17 that says Cumberland County will not require its employees from enforcing the unconstitutional actions of the state government. That's one I would like to have a motion on if anybody would.
And why
I'd like to change the wording just a little bit. Go ahead.
No, you go.
I talked to Brian about this, and to make it read better, you know, you said Cumberland County would not require its employees from enforcing, and I would like to change it, not require its employees to enforce unconstitutional.
Not the same thing, right? They just worded differently. Says the same.
I think it makes more sense. I don't
Okay, could you say it one more time?
change from enforcing to enforce.
Can you read it one to total?
Yeah, I can read it in total. Cumberland County shall become a sanctuary county for all firearms unconstitutionally prohibited by the government of the state of Illinois. In that, Cumberland County would not require its employees to enforce the unconstitutional actions of the state government.
Okay.
When you're saying not require its employees from enforcing, that means they're wanting to enforce it.
Not require its employees to enforce the constitutional action. Got that, Bill?
I'll make it because I didn't like the one prohibited.
Okay, so we'll make this in with the new wording, Ron, you said. Anybody else got any comments first?
Yeah, it has no bite. If you don't put in there that you're gonna enforce it, it has no bite. It has no reason. You're sending them a letter saying, well, we don't like what you do, but
Has no bite in it.
A resolution has no bite anyway.
So you like one?
You like the other one?
it gives its employee, it gives it so you're standing up for something.
The problem I see on that is we have 3 branches of government, and, you know, the legislative, the administrative, and the judicial system. And if we think that something is unlawful, if it's an unlawful law, we are not the judicial system. The judicial system is the one that really should state whether a law is lawful or not, in my opinion.
So they send down a law, what do you do about it?
you can have Brian, contested in court.
I have a
But
question.
but you're gonna go ahead and go along with the law that was passed in Chicago until there's a lawsuit saying which way it's gonna go.
Are we going to tell our employees, force our employees to do something illegal? And how are we going to enforce it? Are we going to have Dave get a hold of the county militia here or whatever? Didn't mean to put you on the spot there, Dave, and county militias, that's not a very good thing, but are we going to have Dave, or no, are we going to get someone else to come in and at gunpoint make the sheriff and his deputies go against the law?
I really don't like.
I'll
the
speak
word.
up to that.
Just me.
It doesn't matter what you pass, I'm gonna do what I always do, and I've always done, because you have no authority to do this. To tell law enforcement not to enforce the law. The constitutionality is something that typically runs through the court system until once it's determined to be unconstitutional, we don't enforce it then.
Yeah, I see.
So until that's done, and because none of us can decide what gun law is constitutional, because we can't agree on it. We've been arguing it for 200 and some years.
That's true.
So, just so
So
you
what
know,
do you do
and I
about
wanna
the
make it
sanctuary
clear,
state?
because when you pass this thing, and I have to go out and enforce one of those laws, or some other law that you think is unconstitutional, and I get one of my guys hurt or shot because of it, you guys are gonna be liable, as far as I'm concerned. What that means, but I can get a lawyer just like everybody else.
So what do you do about sanctuary state then? Do you just let all those people drive on, don't give them a
I
ticket, you
enforce
don't do
that
anything?
law, sometimes I do, yeah. Because we don't enforce typically the federal law. We've cooperated with federal law in the past.
I'm talking about the state, sanctuary state.
I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean by that?
Well, what somebody just said a while ago, the state is a sanctuary state for the illegal.
For illegal
That's
aliens?
federal, that's a federal law, and if they break the law,
That's not
if
federal, no, it's
they-
not federal, that's state sanctuary. So
No,
how are you
no,
reacting on that?
No. I'm gonna follow the direction from the Attorney General's office on how to handle that. I have 4 or 5 pages. That's how we're doing it. We don't typically enforce illegal aliens. That's a federal law, is what I'm trying to say. If they break the law within the state of Illinois, we're gonna arrest them for that. If they break a law in Illinois. I don't know how you're even connecting these two things. They're not
You
even
can't-
connected.
You can't even make you shouldn't make a stop just
You can't do that.
profiling and saying, okay, that looks like an illegal alien.
Right.
I think
And
that's,
historically,
That's not what I'm saying.
historically, people have been brought to the jail. Depends on administrations, and things change, and it's back and forth. And I've gone out on the interstate and helped the Illinois State Police haul people to the jail because they haven't broken the law, but they're here illegally. They don't have papers that, I couldn't determine what's legal anyway with their papers. Because I don't think the federal government even knows. And have detained them in the jail for 3 days, fed them with your tax dollars, and 9 times out of 10, or maybe more, they're all released after that 3-day period. I had no separate law that they broke in the state of Illinois that I could hold them on, and neither did the trooper. So that has been mass confusion for 20 years that I've been doing this. And I don't really know what that's got to do with the gun law that you're passing here today, or you think you're passing today. I don't know what that's got to do with that. Those are connected things. You want to connect it, but they're not connected. You do whatever you want. I don't want to get one of my guys hurt because I know you guys all know this is worthless. I think you're all aware that this is not binding on law enforcement. But there's plenty of people out here, because there's been some Facebook, I'm not a Facebook guy, that people think this is real and that this is gonna happen, and if I have to go enforce it, I don't know how actively we're gonna enforce stuff. We don't always aggressively enforce the law, but if I blunder in a home for some other reason, and there's, you know, some gun laying there, and and the law says that 21-year-old can't have it, and there's only, you know, I'm gonna have to do something. I may not arrest him, I may take the gun and make sure it gets to somebody, a parent, or, I mean, we do this all the time. But there's gonna be people out here that think you passed this resolution, and that's the law, and I don't have a right to enforce that. That's my concern. I don't care what you do with this, but I think it's sending a message with, if you leave that paragraph in there that says, I'm ordering the sheriff's department not to enforce it, we're gonna have a problem.
That's why I wanted the wording changed.
I'm gonna have a problem, and then you're gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted the wording changed from prohibit to
I've been a
not
sheriff-
require.
Right, and I've been a sheriff 20 years, and I reckon people's fairly satisfied. I'm leaving in a few months, and I don't have to worry about anything. I
That's
don't
what I
think
was,
we're heavy-handed.
that's what I was kinda against this, the one on page, the other one, that we prohibit our employees to do something. We're not gonna prohibit our employees to do something, so I don't want to put that in a resolution, they don't look right.
But this,
I would agree to this other one that Ron had talked about, if anybody else wants to make that motion.
I'll make a motion with the wording that says not required to.
The wording that Ron Black said.
Yeah, it's the second one.
Yes, the page 17.
17.
Change it to the two.
Yes. I don't know if that's really necessary, but again,
That's my only concern was, I hope people understand that this is we have no right to tell.
we can't tell
Sheriff.
anybody to do anything
No.
with this.
This is, all this is a symbolic gesture to the state of Illinois. I hope people understand that.
And is that symbolic gesture going to put a big target on our back? That's the other problem that I'm worried about.
Somebody want to second that motion? Who I second? I think we're ready to vote on it.
Bergbauer,
Yes.
Clapp,
Yes.
Black,
Yes,
yes.
Beard, Parr,
Yes.
Oldenburg.
Yes. Motion carried. Hopefully that hasn't caused any problems, Mr. Sheriff.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for your comments, and it's a touchy situation. Thanks, Ron, for coming up with better proposal.
I don't know if it's any better.
You did it, I thought you had looked at something there. Okay, that's, okay. Now we discuss the Legion having static display on the courthouse ground. Okay, we need to approve the American Legion static display setting on the courthouse grounds, county courthouse grounds at the Veterans Memorial site. So anybody want to make a motion to approve them allowed to do that?
I will.
Ron and Roy.
Clapp,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Parr,
Yes.
Bergbauer,
Yes.
Oldenburg.
Yes. Okay, Carrie? Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
You don't have to leave. Might learn something.
I gotta go mow some yards in the dark.
Next, we need to approve the reappointment
Sell
of
some
Michael
t-shirts.
Fleet as the Commissioner of the Housing Authority.
I'll make it.
Any second to that?
Ron?
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Parr,
Yes.
Bergbauer,
Yes.
Clapp,
Yes.
Oldenburg.
Yes. Next, we need a motion to accept the resignation of Lee Pennington, who is President of the Special Service Area Board. And we do have a letter of resignation from him in our possession at this time. So. Second.
Beard,
Yes.
Parr,
Yes.
Bergbauer,
Yes.
Clapp,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Oldenburg.
Yes. Now I need a motion to accept the appointment of Bob Swearingen as President of the Special Service Area Board.
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Parr,
Yes.
Bergbauer,
Yes.
Clapp,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Falconbridge.
Yes. Now, we're down there. Now we need to accept, a motion to accept the appointment of Judy McGinnis, Woodbury Representative, to the Special Service Area Board.
Sound like it? I'll second
Bauer,
Yes.
Clap,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Parr,
Yes.
Falconbridge.
Yes. Now I need a motion to accept the resignation of Jody Davidson, the coordinator of the Special Service Area. Do we have a resignation letter from her also? Okay, we do have a resignation letter from her also.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Clap,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Parr,
Yes.
Bergbauer,
Yes.
Falconbridge.
Yes. Now I'd like a motion to accept the appointment of Michaela Martin as coordinator of Special Service Area. Kyle seconds it.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Parr,
Yes.
Bergbauer,
Yes.
Clap,
Yes.
Falconbridge.
Yes. Okay, Bev, you're up,
Okay, I just need a motion to approve the county clerk and tax redemption reports for April of 2018.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Beard,
Yes.
Parr,
Yes.
Bergbauer,
Yes.
Clap,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Falconbridge.
Yes. And yes,
No.
thank you. Jenny Maynard, anything?
I need a motion to approve the treasurer's report for April of 2018.
I'll make it.
I'll second
Parr,
it. Yes.
Bergbauer,
Yes.
Clap,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Falconbridge.
Yes. Anything else, Jenny?
Not today. Thank you.
Thank you. Ben Bland,
Make a motion to approve the highway bills for April.
$62,775.41.
I'll make it. I'll second it.
Bergbauer,
Yes.
Clap,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Parr,
I need to abstain on that one, sorry.
Parr,
Yes.
Falconbridge.
Yes.
Next, I need a motion to accept the bids for the motor fuel tax maintenance for the county and road districts.
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Clap,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Parr,
Yes.
Bergbauer,
Yes.
Falconbridge.
Yes.
Next, I need a motion to accept the agency agreement for federal participation for section 16008100 GR. This is the federal safety grant money, which we applied for and received. We've done the preliminary engineering, and this is for the actual construction of it. We're hoping to do it this summer. The cost will be in the neighborhood of $1.5 million, and we have about $100,000 of construction engineering money that we're going to be using.
Is this for the guardrails?
Yes,
Right.
there's 26 locations throughout the county that we're going to be upgrading the guardrail and turning sections.
Just please don't put them so close together,
And we-
because the Montrose Blacktop is a disaster.
It's hard to get,
We need.
it's hard to get by
Well,
some
you
streets
can't
of
go
those.
down the road with something wide, like farm equipment or whatever else, because you've got hills and you've got guardrails, and literally, you have tracks. I mean, I've seen guardrails all tore up, and
Did they tell you how far to put them away, Ben, or?
You try to have them in the limits of 28 is what I'm going to try to.
28.
that's pretty close.
It is,
It is,
but that's the standard. I mean, there's standards that we have to put it up to.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Roy.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Bergbauer,
Yes.
Platt,
Yes.
Holcomb.
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, man, thank you. Sherry Druder?
I don't have anything tonight, thank you.
All right, Sherry, thank you. Rhonda Wilson, she here? Nope. Don't see her. All righty. Mackenzie Easton, anything?
Nothing.
All right, thank you. Steve-O, is there anything else, Steve?
I probably said enough.
I agree.
Go ahead, Ted.
We got one comment to Osher. I went out to a guy that had called me that was in a wreck, and Larry Wiki was the one on scene, and he did a fine job.
Thank you. That's a funny thing.
That's all I have to say.
He gets a lot of cards. Compliments.
Does he really?
What do you mean by that, Floyd?
I'm just curious. They said in
Oh,
favor.
yeah, and I don't mean that. As the guys get, we get those occasionally, strangely enough, but he probably gets as many as anybody, actually.
Oh, really? People actually say.
We do get
Thank
them. Yeah, amazingly enough.
you. Okay.
I like those, we don't get enough of them.
No, that's true. Okay, nothing intended by that, no. Okay, who's there? Brian Robbins. Brian's not here, but he has a motion for him.
I can address that. Whenever he goes on or to a conference or something like that, he has to grab a hold of Joe Ellen's credit card. He doesn't quite look like Joe Ellen. And so he would like to have a credit card with his name on it through the Friends Bank, whatever it is, with a 5,000 limit on it.
Is there a specific reason why 5,000?
That's pretty high in my opinion, but I don't know.
We have a $2,000 limit on ours.
Yeah.
He'd have to really live it up, wouldn't he?
Well, the resolution said 5,000, so I was going with what the resolution was.
We originally had 1,000, and then we had, since we have so many offices that use it, we had to bump it to 2,000. But the county, they won't just give the county a credit card, a person's
Right.
name has to be on it.
Right.
And Joellen did not want that responsibility of that high of a balance under her name.
I'll make the motion
How
before,
does he use it?
well, I say the plan, is what all is he gonna use it for?
He has conferences, he has,
Probably purchase certain supplies, maybe.
I'll make the
It makes
motion
it handy.
for a $2,000 balance, or a $2,000 credit limit.
Could we wait till next meeting and do this? I'd like to have his opinion on this.
I'll make a motion to table it until the next meeting.
Thanks, I guess we can table, can't we, Ron? And keep that here.
he
Withdraw my
shouldn't
motion.
be, he shouldn't need it until the next meeting, no.
I think he'll wait one more month. I wanted, and it sounded like kind of,
I'll
I like,
second.
It's not like we don't have-
Yes, I second.
Right.
I like his
So who
reason.
seconded?
I just want, he's just gonna have to dye his hair blonde.
Okay,
What do you-
we tabled that motion. Hopefully that's no problem. Okay. Mr. Braden, John Braden,
I'm here.
good to see that.
Good to see you, Chairman.
Anything, no comment, right, John?
I got nothing for you.
All right, thank you. Steve Sherwood, anything?
I'm like him, I'm just present. I don't have anything.
Donna Olmsted,
I have nothing, thank you.
all right. Mark Howard not here, is he? Okay, we need to just, sheriff's pay bills and payroll, what do we have here? Wait a minute, I'm not, hold up a second. We probably ought to figure that out. Need to ratify payment of manual bills in the amount of $44,043.04.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
On page 41,
41, that's where we started.
41's the beginning of it.
That's how I'll make it.
What, Roy?
I'll make them.
Okay, that's the number, 44,000, yes.
I'll second.
Barr,
Yes.
Bergbauer,
Yes.
Platt,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Holcomb.
Yes. Next, I need a motion to approve the payment of the invoice on the amount of $85,550.04.
I'll make a motion.
Are we still with Sidwell?
Mackenzie is moving to Sidwell.
Yeah, we're in the process.
Okay,
We're on both ends.
okay, you're moving to Sidwell, yeah, okay, that was
We
the,
have
that was the.
Sidwell, we also got one for Bruce Harris also in there, but I assume they're in the transition stage.
I believe that charge was for your aerials, the 19,000.
Yeah.
For aerial photos.
Yeah, 19,153.
I'll second it.
Birdbauer,
Yes.
Clap,
Yes.
Black,
Yes,
Beard,
Yes.
Parr,
Yes.
Colton,
Yes. Okay, I need a motion to approve payroll number 8 in the amount of $79,592.23.
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Clap,
Yes.
Black,
yes,
Beard,
Yes.
Parr,
Yes.
Birdbauer,
Yes.
Colton.
Yes. Now I need a motion to approve payroll number 9 in the amount of $74,816.70.
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Black,
yes,
Beard,
Yes.
Parr,
Yes.
Birdbauer,
Yes.
Clap,
Yes.
Colton.
Yes. Well, I guess I need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn county board meeting.
second,
Beard,
Yes.
Parr,
Yes.
Birdbauer,
Yes.
Clap, Black,
yes.
Colton.
Yes. Meeting adjourned.